Today we're extremely lucky to have with us John Borders the fourth. Can we get the Boston Celtics League welcome for John Borders, please? John Borders is the senior manager of community engagement for the Boston Celtics. I said Boston Celtics. Let's go! I said Boston Celtics. So John will come up here and talk to us about the work that he does, but also just continuing with the speaker series. And so give it up, please, for John Borders. Can we get a really loud
Thank you, man. BDL, make some noise. Man, that was a little weak. He said I work for the Celtics. I'm used to hearing like 18,624 people read their minds every time I'm out. So I'm gonna try this one more time. BDL, make some noise. Yeah, that was way better. That was way better. Thank you guys so much for having me here today. I do not take it for granted. I'm a little bit under the weather, so please forgive my tone. But I come excited to share with you guys. Thank you so much to your leadership, Alicia, Raina, Mike. Thank you so much for having me. And all the debaters, make some noise for yourselves. All the debaters, do me a favor, stand up. Stand up quickly. All the debaters, stand up, stand up, stand up. All the debaters, stand up. All the debaters, stand up. And repeat after me. I am. I am. Because we are. I am. Because we are. I will. I will. I will. Lead. Take a seat. So one thing that did not come up in my story, I also used to be a youth pastor at my church. So I like to use scripture sometimes in context to help me tell different stories. Is that cool with you guys? I promise not to preach to you. This will not be a sermon, but I want to use something just to help me give a little bit of context to this story. All right? So over the next few minutes, I'm going to use a story in scripture to kind of help tell a little bit about my narrative and also to kind of share where I think you guys are now and where you're headed. In the book of Matthew, chapter 14, beginning with verse 22, and hold on, let me slow down. Because I respect the separation of church and state and I understand people's different faith backgrounds and those represented, I'm going to exchange the word for the divine and I'm going to use purpose. All right, so just understand I'm not trying to blaspheme or anything like that, but I'm just going to use purpose to give it a little bit of context. All right, immediately purpose made the disciples get into a boat and go ahead of him to the other side while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went up to the mountainside by himself to pray. Later that night, he was there alone, and the boat was already a considerable distance away from the land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. Shortly before dawn, purpose went out to them walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said. And they cried out in fear. But purpose immediately said to them, "Take courage, it is I, do not be afraid." "Purpose, if it is you," Peter replied, "tell me to come and walk on the water too." "Come," he said. Then Peter got out of the boat, he walked on the water and came toward Purpose. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink. "Purpose, save me." Immediately Purpose reached out his hand, he caught him, and he said, "O ye of little faith, why did you doubt?" Why did you doubt? It's my story. This right here in my pocket is $1. It's a dollar bill. Can everybody see this? Everybody see it? It's $1. It's not a magic trick. There's nothing special about this. This is $1. Quick social experiment with you. This is $1. That was $1. That was $1. This right here is a $5. This is a $5 bill. That was a 5. That was a 5. That was a $5 bill. $5 bill. Ooh, look at him. Come on, look at him. Ooh, yeah. 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 This is pretty cool. Are you guys paying attention to this? So I put out a $1 bill, right? What did we see happen when I put out a $1 bill? You got it. What's your name?
Jordy.
Jordan, y'all make some noise for him. Make some noise for him. We saw him. What happened? I put out a $1 bill. There were a couple of young women sitting in the back. I believe it was you two. You guys began to reach out your hand for the dollar. But what happened?
Oh, we couldn't even reach it.
You couldn't reach it from where you were. So what did you have to do? You had to come up and get it. You had to reposition yourself for what it was that you wanted in life. Did that dollar have anyone's name on it when I put it out? No, the dollar didn't have anyone's name on it. So anyone had access to the dollar that I put out.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. But all of us were positioned in different places. Some people were closer to the front, some people all the way in the back, some people positioned on the side, some people had to climb over other people to get to what it is that they wanted. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So how does that parallel life? All of us have different obstacles. We're all born in different circumstances. We all come from different backgrounds, whether it be socioeconomic, whether it be our families of immigrant descent, whatever it is, we all are positioned differently. But that thing that we want, that thing that it is that we want to go after, whether it's working in the NBA or whether it's being the greatest debater to ever live, talking about educational policy, talking about running for office, being in the Oval one day. Anyone under the sound of my voice has the ability to do that. But you have to see value in it enough to go after it. You have to see value in it enough to go after it. I put out $1. I put out $1, and what did we see?
Joy got it.
We saw, he's like, look, I'm the example right now. He got the dollar. What happened? What happened when I put out the 5? Everyone went. Why? Because they knew you could get it. Why else? They saw purpose. Come on, they saw purpose in it. The $5 was more valuable. What else?
It had no name on it.
It had no name on it. So when you saw that someone could go after it and attain it, when you saw something that was even more valuable, what happened? People began to not worry about who was watching them. People began to kind of get out of the way and not worry about their comfort zone. People weren't worried about people laughing at them or making fun of them. People went after what they wanted because they saw value in it. The scripture that I use for context, people were doing something miraculous. To this point, we had never seen anybody walk on the water. We had never seen anybody do this. But then we see purpose walking on the water, and we see these disciples, these guys saying, if it is you, purpose, call me closer to yourself. You need to be able to counter the fear that is inside of you, that is inside of your circumstance, that is inside of your school, that is inside of your neighborhood, that's on your team. You need to be able to counter that fear that is present with you in order to go after the things that you want. You have to counter fear and put your faith over your fear. Faith in what? Faith in yourself. Faith in the people that believe in you. Faith that there is something inside of you greater than you even know. You have to be able to go after it. So we saw in that story, in that scripture, that when they went out to purpose, it said that Peter climbed out of the boat and he walked on the water. Oh my goodness. We had never seen anybody do this. I don't know anybody on my street that debates. I don't know anybody at my school that debates. I don't know anybody in my family who's been a doctor. I don't know anybody in my family who has a graduate degree. I don't know anybody in my family who's gone to undergrad. I don't know people in my family who've even graduated high school. But there's something inside of me that's saying what it is that I want, even though it's great, even though it's greater than what I can imagine, something inside of me is saying I have to go after it. You have to go after it. You have to go after it. You have to go after purpose. And we also saw that when purpose was that close to Peter, Peter began to fall. One of the things that was key about that was that Peter said that when he saw the waves, when he saw the wind, he was afraid. One thing that was really key about that was as the boat started to go away from land, the wind and the waves were already present. John, what are you saying? The things that you see as obstacles, the things that make you afraid, they've always been there. Poverty has always been there. Violence has always been there. Lack of resources have always been there. But when you start paying too much attention to them, you begin to make excuses about what it is that you want and why you can't attain it. You got to believe in yourself. I get to tell people every day, growing up in Dorchester, living off of Blue Hill Ave, up by Field, I get to tell people every day, I made it to the NBA without ever taking a shot. Swag. Dang. I get to tell people every day. But it wasn't until I got out of my comfort zone and really went after what it is that I saw valuable enough to go after that I was able to attain it. You guys are positioning yourselves. Why? Because you saw someone else get what it is that you wanted. How many people in your school, how many people on your street, how many of your friends want the same things you want, but they're afraid to go after it? They had to see that it could be done in order to go for it. They had to see someone like you. The other disciples were there sitting in the boat. How many of them wanted to do something miraculous? How many of them wanted to get out of the boat and walk on water? How many of them? All of them wanted to do it. They just didn't have the courage in that moment to go after it. But you guys climbed out. You guys went past the obstacles that were in your way. You guys moved forward. And you guys came down here because you saw $1 and then you saw $5. And now I'm going to reach in my pocket for one more thing. Hold on. Listen. So we saw, the first thing I saw was valuable. It was $1. The first thing I gave out was $1. The second thing I gave out was a $5, right? So we know it's going to get more valuable, right? You ready? You guys ready? You ready? You ready? Hold on. Listen, there's enough for everyone. You guys ready? Hold on. Nothing. Hold on. Nothing? Hold on to it. Nothing? What did we see? Don't be so excited about the gift that you look out and you miss the giver. Because understand that if I have the ability to give you 1 or 5, being connected to me is greater than any of those things. So understand that as you go back to your seats, it is yours to hold on. If I were you, I'd be holding on to my hand right now.
Yo, do we got money?
if I were you. Because with this hand comes opportunities to go to games. With this hand comes opportunities for internships. With this hand comes recommendations for college. With this hand comes unlimited resources. So while you're worried about $1 and while you're worried about $5, I would be trying to ask for a business card. I'd be trying to ask for a phone number. You guys are the brightest of who you are. Change the way you think. Debate is about perspective. You guys have the ability. You guys have been identified as being smarter than most. Do not take that for granted. And we expect you to lead. Repeat after me. I am. Because we are. I am. Because we are. I will lead. Thank you guys so much.